So you can always sit in a chair. You don't always have to sit on the floor in some crazy lotus position for practice. First of all, I'll just introduce myself briefly for those of you who don't know me. I'm Jennifer. I'm originally from California. I've been living in Switzerland since 2005 and teaching yoga and mindfulness since 2007. I teach weekly yoga classes at my studio, also on Zoom. I teach weekend women's yoga and mindfulness retreats in the Alps. I also teach corporate wellness sessions, wellness days, health days, in a few corporate offices in the area. So all things in the realm of yoga and mindfulness. And Annika, my good friend and partner in mindfulness, we decided that we wanted to build a community to practice mindfulness together and to kind of share what we've learned and just create space for a moment to practice together. So our idea is to just continue every month, the third Sunday of every month, and next time it'll be Annika's turn, and we'll be recording these sessions. We can share them with you afterwards if you'd like. And yeah, so let's get started. I wanted to just give a few tips for practice. If you're interested in creating a regular meditation practice, a mindfulness practice, I always recommend to focus on short, consistent practices over, once a week, doing a longer practice. 10 minutes is a great way to practice. And when I started practicing mindfulness myself, I had a few rituals that helped me to settle into my practice. And one of them, I sit in a chair typically, and I like to bring a nice weighted blanket onto my lap, sometimes a cushion onto my lap. That helps me just to feel a little more rooted, a little more grounded and stable. So you can experiment with that at home, finding a comfortable space in your home, a quiet room, and maybe a weighted blanket. I also like to open to my senses a little bit more, a sense of smell with essential oils. So you can use maybe for the evening, like a lavender oil is a really nice calming scent that you can just add to your practice before you practice. You can also add a cup of tea. I forgot my tea today, so water. Just something to invite your attention to taste, also one of our senses. It's just a nice way to just be mindful of the variety of sensations and tastes, and even a cup of water. Taste is not just one thing. When you taste your tea or drink your water even, you'll notice that there's, sometimes bitter, sweet, there's coolness, warmth, so it's just, these little rituals are a nice way to cultivate sort of a sense of curiosity. And curiosity is just another way of looking at mindfulness. And another tip for just day-to-day life, there's a practice we can do when we're in sort of a heightened, maybe emotional state, or we're feeling a little anxious. We can use our senses to sort of turn the temperature down on a heightened state of emotion. So one simple practice you can take with you is you can ask yourself, perhaps when you're in that sort of heightened anxious state, you can ask yourself, what are 5 things I can feel? Maybe my feet onto the floor, maybe the temperature in the room, maybe my breath. Just stopping, pausing, and noticing, what are 5 things I can feel? What are 4 things I can see in my current environment? What are 3 things I can hear? Sounds in the room, further away. What are 2 things I can smell? Maybe that's a little more subtle. And maybe what's 1 thing I can taste, even if I'm not eating or drinking anything. So this short, simple practice, it invites us to just pause and become curious. What's in this moment? And that's really just a very simple simple mindfulness. So when you come to your seated practice, you can bring in some of those rituals. Again, maybe a weighted blanket, sip of water or tea, maybe some nice scent that kind of helps you just feel that sense of curiosity. And we'll just make our way into practice. So just finding a comfortable seated position and sit maybe with your if you're sitting in a chair, just make sure your feet or your legs are uncrossed and your feet can just relax onto the floor. Your hands can be in any relaxed position. And we'll use an instruction from a wonderful mindfulness teacher, Pima Chodron, and she invites us to sit with a strong back and a soft front. So we might just see how that arrives in our body when we think of sitting with a strong back. So that can mean sort of an active, alert position, straight spine, perhaps. And a soft front can represent a state of ease in the body and perhaps a sense of receptivity. So just taking a few moments to find the middle place in your seated posture, allowing your body to be the physical representation of that middle place. Not too far forward, not too far back, just right here. Sitting with an active, alert attention, yet a sense of ease in the body. And in this meditation, we'll cultivate a sense of curiosity, also known as mindfulness, and a sense of wonder. So let's start with our physical bodies. And as you sit here, just noticing predominant sensations in your body. Perhaps your feet connected with the floor. Your hips, the back of your legs with the chair. And noticing the spine, giving your spine your full attention for a few moments. And again, sitting with a active, straight spine. We can soften the shoulders to bring a little more ease into the body. You might notice your breath. You don't have to change your breath here. Just breathe naturally. And very simply, we're being curious for the breath. Noticing where you feel this next breath as it comes in to the body. And as it leaves the body, keeping a curiosity, mindfulness of the breath for a few moments. Your mind might get carried away by thought, and this is quite natural, sometimes a habit. And when you notice your mind wandering, gently bring your attention back to your breath. So we can be mindful of the sensation of the breath, as well as the predominant sensations in the body, your seated posture. As the mind becomes a little more quiet, let's notice what's subtle in the body and noticing perhaps the feeling of clothing touching your skin, and perhaps the temperature of the air in the room on your skin. You can also notice any subtle sensations in the breath, and perhaps even the sensation of the breath moving in the area of the nostrils. You might notice the coolness of the air in the room coming into the body, maybe even a little warmth, the breath through the nose as it leaves the body. Again, breathing naturally. And we notice what's subtle in the body. And let's expand our attention to include sound. We can still be curious, mindful for sensations in the body, and we can welcome sound, perhaps sounds in the room, any predominant sounds, maybe sounds further away. And we can just notice the change in sounds, the changing nature of sounds and sensations, moment to moment to moment. And let's also invite into our practice our visual perspective, even with eyes softly closed. We can notice the play of light behind closed eyes. So, very simply, continue being curious, mindful of the variety of sensations in your body, constantly changing, the variety of sounds coming into your moment to moment experience, as well as anything you can detect in your visual perspective, even with eyes softly closed. Nothing to add or change here, nothing to improve. Very simply keeping an active, alert attention on your moment to moment experience. And sometimes I like to finish with a few moments of gratitude. And we can start with the body. We can take a moment to just reflect on or be in wonder, state of wonder for your body's ability to heal, your body's ability to stay healthy and well. And very likely, if you're like me, you've been on this planet for a few decades, your body has experienced maybe some injury, some health highs and lows, and your body continues to forge ahead. And so let's just send the body a little gratitude. And sometimes a silent thank you is nice. And let's continue with the heart. I like to think of the heart as an area of emotional intelligence. Your heart has such wisdom. And we can bring one hand to the heart. And very likely, if you've been alive for a few decades, your heart has experienced highs and lows, love and heartbreak. And your body has an ability to heal and forge ahead. So we can offer a silent thank you to the heart. You can relax your hand back to your lap. And finally, let's bring the attention to the mind. We can offer a little gratitude to our minds. The mind has an ability to learn from history and to anticipate uh, things that might happen in front of us or organize our time for moments of care. So we can just offer a silent thank you to the mind. And let's finish our practice with one slow, deep breath together. You can inhale a little more deeply, maybe feeling a stretch in the chest. And noticing a sense of ease in your exhalation, sense of letting go. And then take your time, opening your eyes when you feel ready. Move slowly.